For tonight's talk, I am going to be speaking only in Spanish. Gisela will be speaking in English. No, I would not do that to you, promise. You guys have been too wonderful. Yeah, so welcome to this wonderful night with our incredible artist, Gisela Romero. My name is Dan Hess. If you don't know me, I am the Chief Curator here at A&H. I've been with the museum for about 8 years now, and last Friday's opening was, for me, the highlight night of many, many wonderful nights. Before we begin, I do have a few announcements. And this is important, put this on your calendar. Our next last Wednesday event will be Wednesday, February 28th. We will be hosting an evening of art, music, and prose, where we will be reading Gisela's incredible table runner stories in both English and Spanish. And that night will include many stories that are not included in the exhibition. Also that night, we will be treated to the live music of Juan Carlos Salazar, who is a beloved Venezuelan. I'm gonna brutalize this. Can you say that?
Cuatrista.
I could not have done that, thank you. What does that mean?
He plays an instrument that is very popular in Venezuela called cuatro.
Wonderful, okay.
It's a very special instrument, close to a guitar, but it's totally different.
It is going to undoubtedly be a very emotional night. If you've had the opportunity to read some of Gisela's texts in the gallery, I can't imagine those texts accompanied by beautiful music. So, on your chairs, you will also find information, or next to you, you will also find information cards about the United Artists, the United Arts fundraising campaign, which for us begins tomorrow. Our programming is supported through donations, and all donations made through the United Arts campaign are matched by 15%. So please do what you can do to make nights like this and exhibitions like this possible. My last announcement is about our beautiful exhibition poster that we were only able to produce for this exhibition because of a contact that Gisela had with a dear friend in Caracas, Venezuela. Carolina Arnal is one of the top graphic designers, and she designed this poster as she's a wonderful friend of Gisela's, and she designed this incredible poster as a gift of love and support for Gisela. The signed posters are $20 and the unsigned ones are $10, so please do what you can to pick one up tonight. Gisela has come up with a wonderful way to proceed with tonight's talk, and we are both looking forward to taking your questions at the end. I know that some of you have had the chance, I don't know if all of you have had the chance to see the exhibition yet, but please feel free at the end. We're not gonna rush this night. I know that already I've talked to some people and they have some wonderful questions for Gisela. As I take my seat, please give a warm welcome to Gisela Romero.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, of course, and being part of this exhibition, for being here and supporting me. Are we going to begin?
Yeah, but first I wasn't so truthful with you. I put a couple extra slides in here.
Okay.
So, this exhibition is full of magical moments like the one I pictured above. One thing that is very rare about the way this exhibition came into being is that me being the curator here, my office is literally up a path from Gisela's studio. When we decided that this exhibition had to happen, and it had to happen here 9 months ago, Gisela and I decided that we knew this was a rare opportunity. Most museum curators do not have the opportunity to meet on a weekly basis with the artists that they're exhibiting. So we decided to lean into that. And every week we met, apart from the weeks that Gisela and Hector went back to Venezuela. And I think the exhibition is proof that I wish more curators had that opportunity, because we were able to really kind of address every nuance that Gisela wanted. And I, as we go over to the exhibition tonight, Gisela can comment more on that.
Yes.
The one thing I did want to say on a personal note that was a moment for me was all those wonderful pieces that you see hanging next to the text in Gallery 2. When I went over to pick them up from Gisla's studio, each one was meticulously folded in one of these garment bags. And for me, that was a moment that I realized that even though I had 9 months to speak with Gisela, that this was a very sacred thing that was happening. She regarded each one of these individuals that she kind of abstracted next to the stories in Gallery 2 as a real individual, a real human being that had gone through these stories. And I think that's when I became aware of how special this was. Okay, so my first question for Gisela is, this photo is really incredibly meaningful to me, but I thought that this would be the perfect litmus test if the exhibition was a success or not, and the opening was a success or not. Can you please tell us who these wonderful people are? And
Well, these are my friends from childhood. We went together to an elementary school, and they came from different parts. They came from Miami, from Caracas, from Santa Marta, Colombia, to be with me that night, to be with me the day of the opening. They are my dear friends that I have known from many, many years. And they were just having my same happiness, sharing with me all the emotions of that particular beautiful night. And they stayed here for 3 days. And that's why the next day, because they made this t-shirt with one of my drawings, and so they gave me one of the t-shirts that day. That was Saturday, the day after the opening, and we took the picture here.
so Gisela had texted me on Saturday and said, is it okay if all of my friends get into the gallery for free? Because it was so packed on Friday night,
They couldn't
make it in.
couldn't go.
And I said, oh my God, of course,
They
please.
couldn't go.
So, okay, so Gisela has come up with a wonderful thing that we're going to go quickly through. And I'm going to let her speak on this. You want to hear more from her than from me. But she thought that to give you a better insight into her world and what made her worldview, that she was going to give you an insight into her process as an artist. So as we go through these, I'll let her speak to you. You ready?
Yes. I didn't know what you were talking to me. So, yes, I want you to make a lot of questions about the exhibition, of course, but before that, I wanted to show you a little bit about me, about my process as an artist. And also, because I think that it's good to know that I put myself as an excuse to tell you the stages of an artist during his or her life. And this is my particular story. All the stages of an artist are discovery, education, experimentation, personal style development, local recognition, participation in national and international, career consolidation, maturity, reflection, teaching, and legacy. These are some of the stages, not the steps, because it's not that you are going to do something and then you have another step forward. No, because sometimes you have to go to the experimentation again, even if you are in a stage of consolidation of your career. So we are talking about stages that artists have during the career. And for some people, the discovery is very late at a particular age, and for me it was at the very, very early stage. So when I was in school, I was
How dear is this photo? It's just so wonderful.
4 or 5 years old, and my mother decided that I was going to be a painter for a carnival. So she put me in that dress. But the truth is that I started to make drawings when I was 5 or 6, and one of the teachers at the school talked to my mother and said that she thought that it was good for me if I could take painting classes or drawing classes, a part of the school. So my mother did. My mother and my father put me in painting classes. So this is the beginning of the story. Then I went to Pratt Institute for my formal education, also to CCAC, to the California College of Arts, because when I decided that I wanted to study art in Caracas, we didn't have, at that particular time, we didn't have an art institution. So I had to go to a graphic design institution, and this is what I did. I am a graphic designer, and then I said, well, I want to continue my education, and I decided to come here to the United States to complete that education. And so that's why I went to Pratt Institute. This is the studio that I had in 1992. And this is one piece that I made for the final project, for the graduation night.
So you went to Pratt to study graphic design?
No.
Okay.
I studied graphic design in Caracas,
Okay.
because at the time that I wanted to study art, we didn't have an art institution where I can go to study art, pure art. So I went to the graphic design institution, and then I came to CCAC for the illustration BA, and then I went to Pratt Institute for the master's degree in printmaking. It was, the major was printmaking, and the minor was drawing, but the printmaking was my main thing at that time. So yes, this is the studio in Pratt Institute.
And if anybody doesn't know, I had gone to School of Visual Arts in Manhattan for my undergrad. I went to Stony Brook for my master's, but Pratt has an incredible legacy as one of the best art students in Manhattan. So.
Yeah. Then it comes the experimentation. Every artist during their lives, they experiment with different materials and different surfaces. And for me, it was very important during many years to go to artist residencies, because this is the perfect place to forget everything that you have in your mind and just focus in that, in using different things taken from other artists, and using different materials and experimenting with different things, and using everything as a surface, a tree or whatever you find in the house. So this is a very important period of time for an artist.
We were talking in your studio today about Andre Smith.
Yes.
And how he required that all of the artists that came here, the Bach Fellows and those that came back in the first golden age of Maitland, that they were required to experiment continually in their work.
To forget everything that they have
exactly,
done.
Right.
And just make new things, and that's it.
We were talking in Gisela studio today, and we were encouraging her, my director and I, we were encouraging her to do a book of her text with her drawings next to it. And then all of a sudden my director said, oh, I've seen that before. Andre did a book of his writings with his drawings next to it. And it was nice that it was this moment that came full circle, right?
Yes, very, very nice. Then the other stage is the personal style development. This is a very important stage because you separate yourself from another artist or from another people that are trying to achieve something as an artist. So it's very important for, it was very important for me, and I think that I tell my students when I have my workshops that it's very important to have your own voice. You have to be prepared to do different things that only belong to you, to use different symbols or anything that you think that are just a way that only you can do that. So I started from many years ago to mix words and drawings, and I put them together. So you can see a picture of something that I did in 2005, 2003, 2000, and the other one that is just there in the exhibition. So it's just 2024. You can see that I have the same symbolic style.
So I've seen the catalog that the black tiers, because you refer to them as tiers, is that correct?
Yes.
So the black tiers, can you explain to them what exhibition that came from?
Yes, in that particular time, in 2005, in Venezuela, 13 artists made this exhibition trying to talk about what was happening to us in the country, and I decided that these were, in that particular time, they were not tears, but drops, oil drops. So, as maybe you know, Venezuela is an oil country, and at the end, all the politicians will love to have the money from the oil and forget the people. So that particular piece was about these drops coming towards me, and I being at the end of the piece. The pictures are not very good, but in that particular place that is white under that there is a drawing of myself, and what I say is that even the drops were destroying the country. I was not feeling it. I mean, I was intact, and it's the same thing that I'm saying right now, because all these drops became tears. Wow. Because I had to leave the country finally. Because in 2005, I said, well, maybe things are going to change, but never changed. So I had to leave the country, and I transformed those drops in tears, and this is the new piece that you are looking at this exhibition.
It's really quite symbolic for your whole country that the oil drops turned into tears, isn't it?
Yes.
Can you explain to people why it's so important to you? Because people don't know. One thing I tried to say to somebody is, and I think it's a good time to mention this, is that you and Hector live every day what you're producing in that gallery. It doesn't come from some theoretical, like it comes from your experience, but even now, how many times a year do you go back to assist your family?
Twice a year.
At least twice a year, for a month each time, right?
Yes.
And it's a very emotional, trying time for you, right?
It's very emotional, and also we help people from here. It's not just going there. That of course is great to see the family, but it's important to be out of the country to help people that are living there. Yes, it has been, I mean, this is our story, right. But what I wanted with this particular exhibition is to have also stories of different people. I mean, the gallery one is my story, and then I have different stories of different people going from one place to another. It could be any transition, not only because you emigrate to one country to another, but that you are going to one place to another, or one love to another, or anything that could be a transition. So yeah, it has been very, very hard, but at the same time, as you can see, all the drops were black and white and very heavy. Right. And now you can see tears, but you can see color, and you can see a little joy. You can see a little blue and a little yellow from the flag of Venezuela. And you can see a lot of red, because the red was the color that the regime that is now in Venezuela used every day for everything. And we were, deciding not to use red for anything because it reminds us that, but now you can see.
So it's almost like you reclaim the red for yourself.
It's a revenge.
Wow. One thing, when we first decided that this was an important exhibition, it was right before last spring you had gone back to Venezuela for the first time that we knew of you.
Yeah.
And Gisela came in the office, obviously emotional. She had a coat on that she had sewed pockets on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying it out because you had to literally smuggle things for your family back in, right? Money. Yeah. And she handed my director and I a manila envelope and said, oh, by the way, these are the table runner stories.
Yeah.
And I was busy and I was doing, like, oh, and I was kind of trying not to get emotional along with you because I could see the weight you were carrying. And my director took the stories and went in her office. And when I went in there later, she was crying and she looked at me and goes, have you read these? And I was like, no, I haven't had the opportunity. And so that was when we as a museum realized the magnitude of what you were trying to do in the gallery, just reading those stories for the first time. And it was kind of hard for us because we were reading them while you went back. Mm-hmm. So it was very, very emotional, very difficult.
So the other stage of an artist is local recognition. You have to, for those here who are young artists, the first thing that you have to do is to get local recognition, go to galleries and try to be represented by one of the galleries, if it is possible, and apply to different kind of exhibitions and try to go to the press. It's very difficult. It's very, everything's very difficult, but it's not what I was going to say. It's very good to have, to register what you do, to have everything that you do and go to the press and try to have a critique, even if it is bad or good. But it's good for you, for your career. And yeah, this is a gallery in Venezuela, and this is all Venezuela because it's the local place. And then you have opportunities to go outside. If you are a gallery, you have the opportunity to go to the festivals like Pinta or Arco in Madrid, or you go to. For example, this one, somebody invited me to this particular exhibition. It was a solo show in a TV store in Barcelona.
That's a great idea.
It was a great idea. It was. You can see all the monitors with the drawings. So people went to buy a TV and they had at the same time a solo show. All the monitors.
What a great idea.
It was great. It was great. That's why sometimes I tell you that I don't mind. Places. It's great to be in a museum, it's great to be in a gallery, but there are so many venues, there are so many things that you can do as an artist.
One of my first shows in New York, they were about to demolish this building, and these two curators went in and gridded off the whole interior of the building, floor, ceiling, walls, into 2 by 2 foot squares.
Exactly.
And they opened it up to everybody, and they called it the 2 by 2 exhibition. And for like a week before they demolished the building, everywhere you looked on the inside was covered with art from like thousands of people. It was really just magical. It was wonderful.
Great. And during COVID, for example, I put a drawing every day for 45 days on the door of my apartment, so all the neighbors could come and see different drawings every day. So it was a great idea that particular one in the TV store. And then the other stage is a career consolidation, and I think that for that you of course have to have the opportunity, and I thank you again to you and Danielle Thomas and all the A&H team, because you allow me to present my work in this space, in this magical space. So each time that I do something, I think that I am going to the end, but no, I'm going to the beginning, because this is the beginning of the consolidation of my career, I hope so. And of course, all the stages that you see, the maturity and reflection, teaching, and mentoring, and legacy and transcendence are all the time surrounding an artist, but it's only time could say something about you and if you are going to have a legacy or not. Meanwhile, I love teaching, I love mentoring somebody. I have done it here, I have done it in Caracas. I am here in the studio number 6. If I don't know, anybody would love to come and have a conversation with me. And I give workshops, so this part, it has been a very continuing part of in my career, because I have teaching many people for many years. And this is what I love the most about being an artist. I love to give people, I love to be in the street, making drawings in the street, having people talking to me, have children talking to me. This is a very important part of my life as an artist. I mean, to be able to share what I do with the community and all the people that are interested in my art, in my drawings. So these are pictures from different parts of the world, from Norway, Caracas, and here in Kissimmee, in Thailand, in Port St. Lucie, Atlanta, in Georgia. So, yeah.
I think one of the things, if anybody has had the pleasure to meet Hector and Gisela, the first thing you come away with is how incredibly giving they are as individuals. And I love the fact that somebody that's incredibly focused and prolific, working every day in their studio, knows that it's a priority to engage others in the community. And for us, all of us here at A&H, it's been remarkable. You know, we're very fortunate that we have incredible artists come through our program. I think I see Leo back there, and you know, these people, and I don't say this lightly, they do become part of our family here. You know, we refer to them as our affiliated artists, but we spend so much time with them, and we really do consider them as, like, even though they may leave, they don't transition someplace else. They're always a part of them with us, you know. But ever since you and Hector came in, especially, maybe that's because of what you've endured. You realize that that it is just an integral part of your practice, that you have to engage the community, engage individuals.
Thank
okay,
you.
Are you ready to enjoy? Is that your final thing?
And, and this has been such a pleasure to have this exhibition here and leaving all the process of the installation, because it's very convenient to be here. I mean, so close to the gallery, of course. So I was there every day. Every day. It was great to see the walls from the beginning. Thank you, Leo, for these wonderful red walls. It was great to see every change, minute per minute. I mean, it was great to see the exhibition growing and all the pieces.
We had these beautiful moments, and then these super funny, very, very like, kind of like we were all losing our mind in our own little way. And I took this video. I hope it comes through. I hope I can play this.
No way.
Listen to this. I hope it allows me to play it. Maybe it's loading. If it doesn't, I'll. So when I walked in the middle of the installation at a very intense part, I walked in and Gisela was sitting in the back corner of Gallery 3 in the dark by herself working on this little thing. And I said, Gisela, are you okay? I'm getting worried about you. And she bust out laughing, right? You were laughing so hard and you're like, no, I'm fine. And she kept on saying over, this is what I do. This is what I do.
This is my life every day.
This is my life every day. And she was just obsessing about this one little part of this piece. And, it is really, it's a wonderful, but it really was, there was no part too small or too large that Gisela did not put her hand on in there. It was really incredible to see how everything had intent and everything had purpose, and every little, even in Gallery 3 where the pieces come off of the wall and they meet, they kind of turn at the end. Can you explain that?
Yes, they are all different stories. Each table runner is a different story, and they have colors. And as you see, they come to an end and they meet in the blank page, in the blank table runner that doesn't have anything, not a drawing or anything, because this is what I'm saying. This is the time to arrive to a new place and begin a new life. So you are going to see color, and then going to a very white space. And also the sound. We have to talk about the sound.
Oh, okay. So we had a moment in Gisela's studio where, I was thinking, the more she kept presenting these things to me in Gallery 2, and I was sharing with my board president, Trent Domingo, who is here with me tonight, with us tonight. I said there was a part that got so emotional during the install because I was always involved with not the translation into English. Gisela wrote these beautifully in English, but I was the one that had to format everything, size everything. So I had stacks of her writings on my desk, and so I told her that I had to just divorce myself from the process to just be as meticulous as I wanted to be in the installation of the work. And what was I mentioning? What were you saying? Oh, the music. Thank you, boss. No, so there was one moment when Gisela mentioned, what about a sound? And she started talking about, this is really indicative of how everything came together. She started talking about these favorite pieces of music and this and that. And I said, I don't think that's right. I said, I think it has to be something that is uniquely to your experience in Venezuela, and it can't be something that someone else composed. I said, I know that's really weird, but can you think of anything? And she lit up and she's like, oh my goodness.
At the beginning, I was thinking, because the gallery number 2 is a procession. So I wanted to have the feeling of people walking towards something. So I was thinking it's Philip Glass, because he has this music that is very profound, like the sound is really heavy. But then you told me that, and I said, oh my God, the perfect sound is the sound that I listen to when I call my mother every night. That is that sound of the frogs, of the
frogs singing.
That I'm listening to her, and I'm listening to the frogs in the background. And then you told me.
So I found a video of just the audio of the frogs of Caracas singing.
Yeah.
And then I sat with them, with Gisela, and I said, this is perfect, but it's still not right because the tone of the gallery. And so I said, wait, let me slow it down. Mm-hmm. And so Katie Benson, our exhibition manager, her husband works in video and audio. He's a genius with audio. And he slowed it down 10%, and he sent it back to me. I'm like, oh my God, can you slow it down another 10%? And when he sent it back that time, we just sat there and cried in the studio because it was so haunting. And even though that's the sound that Gisela hears when she calls her mother every night, that's also the sound that when people flee Venezuela and they have to go through the jungle.
Yes, yes.
That's
you have both. I mean, you have the one that is from Caracas in the background, and you have the other one that is a particular sound of the jungle, of the Darien, which is the name of the jungle that Venezuelan people are crossing to come to other countries.
So I think we're at that wonderful point where we can. Oh, look. I don't know if it's playing.
Dana and I are worried about you.
Don't worry about me.
This is my life. She kept saying over, this is my life, this is my life. Okay, well, we're at that point.
Where's Hector?
Hector, can you raise your hand? Where are you, my friend? There he is in the back. Thank you, Hector. Well, listen, you guys have all been so wonderful. We're not going to rush this. I know we all want to get to the gallery, but I had talked to you, a couple of you briefly, and you had some wonderful questions for us. So, anybody? Oh, there's a gentleman with the hat on behind Jim.
Well, that picture is the picture that is the end of the exhibition, and it has all the symbols, and because in Gallery 2 you have the stories of many people, and they are from Turkey, another one is from India, and what I did in that particular drawing, and that's why we chose that particular drawing for the poster, you have different symbols of different cultures, and different little drawings of the drawings that I made at the beginning. So it's a mix of almost everything that you see in the exhibition. And also in Gallery 1, you see different parts of colors that are separated. In this case, it's the only drawing where these graphic colors with these spaces of color are together.
And one thing that people should be aware of is all these different beautiful mark making that runs through your drawings that are all people moving from one place to another. Is that correct?
Exactly. All the marks that are in Gallery 2, they are gestures of people walking. And you are going to see some of them are like an old person, another one is with a little baby, and so on.
Wonderful. Anybody else? Jim, you had a question?
Yes. You mentioned that it was very important to you to include others in your artistic expression. And so it was a process usually, but how did you originally, in that discovery phase, how did you originally conceive of including others' stories in your work?
How did I do it?
That's a great question. I think what Jim's saying is, when did you decide to make it more of a universal thing and include other people's stories, not just your own?
Well, because I listen to people all the time, and I have listened to people saying their stories. And I have a friend, for example, 2 days ago, she said to me, thank you for the story, for my story, because her story is one of the stories that is here. So she said to me, I don't know how to express my story. I don't know how to tell other people my story, but you do. So it was very beautiful to receive table runners from other people, stories from other people. And what I did was, particularly in Gallery 2, to put them together. And that's why I call that gallery a procession, because it's not a religious thing. I mean, the procession is just people walking towards something together. Even if you don't know each other, You are going to the same place. You are going, in this particular case, to freedom, to a new life. But sometimes you just, with your family, you go to a place, to a funeral, to something that congregates many people toward one goal.
Anybody else? One, sir?
I got 3 questions. You want me to say all 3 of them, or do you want me to just say one and then go and answer that?
First one, please.
First one. What themes were you dealing with in Venezuela, in Parkland?
What did?
What themes were you dealing? Was there a different theme that you were dealing with before you came here?
Yes.
Prominent, though. Prominent. What was the major thing you were dealing with when you were living in Venezuela as an artist?
When I was living in Venezuela before we had this terrible regime, I was very happy. I was dealing with nature. I was going to many places and take forms, and I remember doing a very big exhibition, solo exhibition about peculiar forms that I found in nature, in tapestries, in the floors and everything, because I wasn't dealing with problems, you know? So our life changed a lot during this period, and I remember maybe from 2000 I started to write, because it was easier for me at that time to use words to express what was happening in the country. And then I decided to also incorporate images. But that's why I ask you, the question is before this or before the regime came? Of course, my life was much better. And the artists respond to the circumstances. You talk about what with things that you are dealing, issues that are important to you and sometimes are very hard to explain or painful, and sometimes it's just happiness. You are happy and you paint beautiful flowers, and this is it. This is the reality. You respond to your circumstances.
All right, Ivan, next one. That was good.
Question 2. I know you translated a lot of the words that are presented in the exhibition. How much of it did you stick to it, or did you alter it to a certain point?
You mean from Spanish to English?
Yes.
I wrote everything in English.
No, I understand that. But how much of it did you alter it, or did you keep true to the essence of what the person was stating in the story?
I can say that maybe I altered maybe 10% or something. It's very accurate. It's very precise. The only thing is that, of course, as an artist, you have this artist license and you take the words of somebody else and you try to transform in poetry or in beauty.
And then my third question is, if you're not an activist in today's art world, should they be considered as an artist or not?
Could you please?
So what he said is if you are, with everything going on in today's world, if you are not an activist, are you still considered an artist?
Because you're dealing with the diaspora, and right now that's one of the things that a lot of artists are dealing with, or climate change. Any issues that is very prominent that needs to be dealt with, both politically, socially. If you're not doing that kind of art.
Can I speak to that and then you tell me if I'm right or wrong? Do you mind if I answer that, Ivan? Since the one thing that it's funny, I was talking to this with my director about this today, and I don't know how this is going to come across, but the one reason you know, when you talk about immigration in the United States nowadays, it instantly becomes politicized. And it's either, it's looked at on the left one way and on the right another way. The thing that I always thought that was so endearing about this was it comes from a purely human perspective. It comes from a point of resisting being politicized. And I don't know if this is answering your question, but I think the response to people on Friday night when, you know, I heard all these people commenting about their experience in the gallery and was the fact that it almost seemed refreshing to them that they could look at somebody's story without it being filtered through a left or a right kind of lens.
No, but I have an answer with my personal story.
Please.
I was an activist in Venezuela for many years, and I wrote many things. I went to the street. I made a lot of things in statues there. I had a group called the Cultural People, and we had this big Venezuelan flag going to all the places, and we were there fighting in all the protests. We were at 3 in the morning, tried to put a bomb in. I mean, I went to a very important plaza with a pond like this one, with this big water thing, and I put red paint because it was the blood of all the people that they were killing. And you know, Ivan, it didn't work. We were not doing anything. We were not changing anything. We just were persecuted by the police, and they started to put people in jail. And I said, you know, this is not the path. This is not the way I want to do it. I want to do something different as an artist. I want to take these stories. I want to try to achieve beauty with this. I don't want to be part of the violent situation that we have. I mean, I was an activist for almost 20 years, and that's it. I decided to do it in another way. And I think that this is better because I am reaching more people. I am changing maybe, I don't know how many people came to me last Friday, and I had to hug them because they were crying. So I have the experience of being an activist with a lot of rage. This is the rage, and it didn't work. So I hope that this is different. This is trying to talk about something terrible with beauty and poetry. This has been very difficult for me, but this is what I'm trying now. Let's see.
Oh,
Ma'am?
When you moved from Venezuela to the U.S., were you ever afraid about how your work would be perceived and received because you were coming in from a completely different experience to the people living in the U.S.?
Of course. Yes, of course. I remember the first exhibition that I had. It was a group show in Osceola Arts. Marilyn Cortez Lovato, who has been a great person to me, and she helped me a lot at the beginning. She invited me to be in that group show, and what I did was so different that I was scared, because when I saw all the different paintings and drawings of from different people here, and I saw mine, and I said, oh my God, this is so different. This is going to be a disaster for me. Of course, I was scared, very, 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 and I still are. Sorry.
Okay, let's take one more question and then we'll head over to the gallery. Anybody? Yes?
Yes, good evening. Really a nice evening. Thank
Thanks to
both of
you.
you. I have not seen the exhibition, unfortunately. Your medium is to table runners, like we know table runners, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So that was intentional. And yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yes.
Because it's interesting, because at Christmas we have a lovely table runner on our table, and I think of the symbolism of what's on that table runner, but also the fact that it brings all who are at this table together
Mhm.
for discussions.
Yeah.
And I assume that's what you were trying to do beyond what you created on the runner. Is that
Yes, it's great that you say it before you see the exhibition, because that was the beginning of this particular project. When I came from Caracas, the only thing that I brought, the only object that I brought from my house in Caracas was a table runner, because I wanted to have something from my house, from my old house to this new house. And well, this is what happened. When I came here to A&H for the interview with Dan and Danielle, I said to them, I have this idea of the table runner because it's it's the only object that I have from my old house, and at the same time, it was very important in my house because we have a lot of dinners and lunches, and we stay there to talk a lot, and we have the sobremesa, which is, I don't know the name of that, but you stay, after you have the dinner, you stay for a long time talking about the day or whatever. So that was very important for my family. And so I told them I have this idea of using the table runner as a surface. And this was the beginning of the project. And you are going to see them, because we're going.
But she did, it's exactly what you said that she shared in that conversation with Danny and I. She said that she felt like the table runner had absorbed all of the love and conversations and, community that happened around the table, and that's why she wanted to start there.
Exactly. And all the table runners are used from other people. They belong to other people.
What a beautiful concept, though. Anyone who has that ability in their home to create that, it really is something that creates a sense of warmth and community and sharing, and you obviously you've achieved it. So thank you very much.
Thanks to you.
Okay, are we good? Listen, you've been wonderful, everybody. Thank you so much. Gisela, thank you.
Thank you for everything.